Yeah, no fear hippie here is here. And today we are going to see what appears on my Facebook feed. So earlier today I was discussing how some killers are more map dependent on the others and what I would do to kind of help mitigate map dependence as much. So the killer we were using, for example, was nurse, and this person there saying, "Oh yeah, you gotta learn a lot about the mounts with her because there's some objects you cannot blink through," which I think is. I know you can't do that with nurse, but I don't feel like it's that significant from what I've seen. Um, and I'm kind of surprised that there are still like items or not items, places in the map where you can't blink through. Um, but he was saying, yeah, she's a very map dependent, and I would say she's the least map dependent killer in game. I can't think of a killer that's less map dependent than Nurse because she mitigates things. He was saying in indoor maps were bad, or in multi-story levels, which I somewhat, but also every killer is, unless they're a stealth killer, they don't really benefit from being in those mounts, and they actually do have stealth builds that work pretty well as Nurse playing on those mounts because they can go through so many different floors so quickly and just traverse the map very quickly. Um, I would say like the worst mount for Nurse is still like significantly better than any mount for a Trickster or a Huntress, where they have to load out lockers. A little less so on Huntress because she doesn't have to reload as much nowadays. Um, but I kind of do want to like come up with some solutions to actually make the mounts more beneficial. So I would say right now my biggest gripe with mounts is they buffed Dredge, Huntress, and Trickster, all locker based killers, um because they didn't want to go back and go through all the mounts and work on adding lockers to different places. My issue is I feel like there should be lockers on just about every corner of the map, even if it's not like a jungle gym. I feel like there should be an option for filler lockers to appear at times. Where a good example is by cow tree. There's lockers that spawn right next to it. Cow tree is the big tree with all the cows on it that's on the cold wind mounts. Um, So I would think having something like that, and then maybe having a pallet, and then like just something that's laying up against on Earthside. Very, very weak pallet. But it would give the option for a Huntress and Trickster and Dres not to be as map dependent as they are. So you don't have to universally buff them, universally nerf them, and it'd be a lot more consistent. My other big issue is we have 5 Springwood mounts, which are all very, very similar looking. They don't really have any mains that really differentiate them that significantly. And they're also very, very survivor side. I would probably get rid of at least 2 of them. We don't need that many Springwood mounts. Um, or Batum. Batum or Springwood. I forget. I get the names mixed up occasionally. My other big issue is, I would say, mount sizes. I feel like mount sizes have they gotten better where they've been shrinking it, which is good, but they're not shrinking the distance the S tier killers can travel, such as Nurse and Blight. because now they have even less distance to travel to before, and they can still like get across the map like nothing, and even quicker now. So I would say like make a standardized mount size more. I feel like we are very off on all the mount sizes, unfortunately. Um, and my other thing is the Orman maps. I do not like the new Orman maps. The reason for that is because they all use the same main building. You cannot easily distinguish what Ormond you are at just a glance, unfortunately. So they need some different mains, and they need to like I would love to have more Ormond variants because I do love more snow mounts, but I would say I wish they would collab with The Shining or The Thing, both movies based in snowy areas. If they did that, they could possibly dang, I did a good play there. Um, they could possibly, what is the word for it? Um, sorry, I was getting distracted. If they were to reduce the work on the Orman mounts, I feel like things would just be a lot more smoother. Thankfully, they're not in rotation as much as they were when they first came out, because they increased the rotation mounts so they could get more data on them. Um, but yep, that's kind of my thoughts on like map dependence and the real big problem with map design in DBD. It's kind of all over the place. They make some really, really good mounts, and they make some really, really bad mounts. Um, I would say like another weird, interesting map is I know a lot of people don't like the swamp mounts, but I really like the design of the swamp mounts for the most part. The only thing I don't like is really the graphics. I feel like they could definitely use a graphics overhaul, but everything else in the game is fairly good, graphically looking. Um, but yep, that's all I got to say for today. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day, and I will see y'all in the trials. Bye bye.